Hello, I want to welcome you to my kitchen table. This is where my family and I share meals together, and the reason why I wanted to shoot this video from here is that this Sunday we are going to be sharing a meal together as a community. That meal is the communion meal. And so here's how we're going to do this, because obviously this is a bit different online. We want to encourage you now to gather some materials. So what I have here is this. I have a tortilla. That could work. I've got Dave's Killer Wheat Bread, awesome stuff. I've got some sourdough bread that will work as well. And then I've got, if you don't have any of that, I got some of these club crackers. So as I looked around my house, this is what I found for bread. And so any of these options would work, anything like that would work. And when Jesus took this meal, he passed out the bread, but he also passed around a cup of wine. And as he passed that cup around, he talked about the new covenant. Now, what I have is I've got some grape juice and I've got some tea, and I don't know what you have at your house. Maybe you have something like this, maybe you have some wine, maybe you have something like that. I want to encourage you to have that available this Sunday as we take communion together. But there's another option too. Maybe you don't have this meal together, or maybe you want to share this meal with your family. I want to tell you for a second how to do that. We want to encourage you that if you do share this meal with your family, that you explain it. And here's how we'll do that. So on the night that Jesus was betrayed, he took this bread and he passed it around. And he told his disciples that this was his body. What did he mean by that? What he meant by that is that the bread symbolized his body which would absorb all of our sin onto it. And that he would take all of our sin up onto the cross, and that he would die. Now, the Apostle Paul looked at Jesus and said, he who had no sin became sin so that we might become the righteousness of God. That's what he talked about. So literally in Jesus's body, he absorbed our sin. So maybe you're passing this meal around and you break this bread and you hand it out to your family, and you talk not only about that, but the moment that you were redeemed. You share with your kids your redemption story. We want to encourage you to do that. And then also on the night he was betrayed, Jesus took a cup and he passed it around, and he said that this is a new covenant, a new promise made in my blood. And we know that blood covenants are forever covenants. Jesus literally spilled his blood so that we can enjoy the new promise of forgiveness and salvation. And so as you pass this around, maybe talk about some promises that are important to your family. I know a promise that's important to my family is the one that's symbolized right here on my finger, this wedding ring. It symbolizes the vows that my wife and I took. So maybe there's other promises that are important to you. But as you share this meal with your family, you talk about the new promise made in Jesus' blood. Now, the Apostle Paul also warns the church that you don't want to take this meal flippantly. You don't want to take this meal in what he calls an unworthy manner. So what does that look like? Sometimes you say on one day, oh, I believe all this. I believe that Jesus died for me. But then you live a completely different way. If that's you, then maybe just leave this meal and you don't need to take it this time. Or maybe you're not right with God and you just need a little bit of more time. It's okay to pass on this meal. It's absolutely fine. Because the Apostle Paul says that when you eat or drink of this meal in an unworthy manner, you eat and drink judgment upon yourself. And we don't want you to do that. What we want is for you to take this meal and for it to be a joyful, life-giving thing. As a reminder of the fact that you are redeemed, that you are a new creation, and that God loves you and made this promise with you forever. So this Sunday, have these materials together. And if you're not able to do that, that's okay. We also want to give you the family option in communion as well. We hope you have a great rest of the week, and we can't wait to worship with you online this Sunday at 10:30.